getting attention.
So Dee, who are your biggest influences both musically and film-wise?
Biggest influences musically, well, you know, I mean, the Beatles were just one of those bands that if you're old, like me, you just, it changed you. It was more than the music, it was more than a look, it was the effect it had on the world. How great was that effect? My father had banned television in our house the year the Beatles were on TV. He decided that the family needed to get back to basics, making puzzles, building model kits, reading. So basically, while the Beatles were changing the world, I was building a fucking puzzle. But in spite of that, the next day, I mean, and this is the effect, I walked out to the bus stop, and I remember it was buzzing. I mean, everybody was talking. I go, what's going on? I go, didn't you see him? Didn't you see him? I'm like, what? The Beatles? What's that? You know, it's a rock band. Everybody was screaming. And the minute I heard everybody was screaming, I didn't even know what a Beatle was. I just said, that's what I gotta be. Whatever that is, if they're screaming, I want to be that. So now, as far as acting and things like that, look, I've got heroes, and I mean, the people I admire, and they're bad guys for the most part, and action guys like Clint Eastwood, and, you know, people like that. So, I mean, I never really intended, I never really thought about acting as a career. Or something I wanted to do. My career evolved to it, and when I had the opportunity to do some acting, I embraced it, and I'm glad I did, because some of the great experiences I've had in life have been, whether, you know, in front of a camera on a film set, or on Broadway, on a stage, you know, in theaters. So it was something I never intended to do, but it wound up being a great thing.
So what are your thoughts on the current state of metal today?
The current state of metal. Contrary to some of my peers' opinions about rock and roll being dead, who shall remain nameless, Gene. When I come with that, tells me my inside voice. And let me get it clear. Okay, I've had some disagreements with the guys at Kiss. I love Kiss. I'm an original Kiss fan. I own 7 fucking albums, okay? I mean, day one Kiss fan. I grew up in New York, and the buzz was on. They were from Queens, I was from Nassau County. The counties right next to each other, and the word was already out. There's this band wearing makeup and stuff, and they got an album come out, and they're really great. They're called Kiss. So I was waiting for that record to come out. When it came out, I was one of the first people to buy it and embrace it and love it. And I remember reading every single article I could find about Kiss. I'm putting my coffee down because I need my horn throwing hands. So now, when Gene says, I'm going to trademark this, I invented the metal horns. No, you didn't. You stole the web shooting from Spider-Man. And he said it in his earliest interviews. And I'm a big comic book geek as well. So it's so cool to have this amazing guy and this amazing band saying he was a comic fan too, and he was a Spider-Man fan. And now he's like, I invented the metal horns. Yeah. Unless you're shooting webs, tuck your thumb, people. Ronnie James Dio invented the horns. Remember that. No, shooting webs, throwing the horns. How do we get there? I just completely go off track.
Current state of metal.
Current state of metal. So Gene recently said that rock and roll was dead, and he told young people, don't even bother to pick up a guitar. He said, don't quit your day job. And it was in GQ magazine a few years ago, and I was mortified because, you know, as elder statesmen of rock, and that's what we are, our job is to encourage, not discourage. You know, you're supposed to cheer the young bands on. And he said things like, there will never be another Bob Dylan, there will never be another Hendrix, there are no great musicians. And obviously he hasn't been out to any concerts. Because my children, who are grown, have taken me to Warped Tour, and have taken me so many metal shows through the years. And in these little halls, in these little places, I've seen incredibly talented people. Do they get the light shined on them anymore? No. Do they have any hope of becoming wealthy or making a life out of music? No, they don't. It's sad. But they're up there, they're playing, they're passionate, and they're there for one reason, because they fucking love it. And that needs to be applauded and cheered, not sprung, not sprung. So I think metal's a great place.
Tell us about the inception of Twisted Sister.
Oh, inception. It was ugly. It was a lot of body fluids and all kinds of crazy shit going on there. How can you even talk about that? The inception, Twisted Sister was made up. Okay, if you've ever gone to see bands, and I hope you have not seen bands, support, you know, young bands and original bands that are out there. But you go to see a band, and there's one guy in the band who doesn't fit. One guy who's dressed up, and he's moving around, and he's just completely the oddball in the band. We were those 5 oddballs. We were from 5 other bands where we didn't fit, and we found each other because we all wanted to be dressed up and act crazy on stage. So the band, you know, it's a great documentary. I say great because it is highly rated. It's called We Are Twisted Fucking Sister, and it's on Netflix. Because this documentarian discovered that Twisted Sister was together for 10 years before we broke in 1984. 10 years before the world discovered us, and he was stunned that here was this band that was regionally really popular, we had a huge following in the New York area, and we couldn't get a record deal, yet we refused to take no for an answer. And you know, basically, if you watch that video, if you see that documentary, it really gives you insight into how we came together, how we kept it together, and how hard we fought to succeed. And if you're not a fan of the band, it makes you at least respect the band, and if you are a fan of the band, it takes your respect to a whole other level that you didn't realize. No need to clap after everything I say. Some things aren't worthy.
So you're the songwriter for Twisted Sister.
Yes.
If you could, what song or songs are you most proud of?
I wrote every song for the band. How did that come about? Well, just point of interest, I talk about in the documentary. I joined the band, I was younger than everybody else. They were all from Manhattan and the Bronx, and I was this groom from the suburbs. And they treated me like a dorky little kid because I was a dorky little kid compared to these cool guys from New York. And when I tried to sort of hang with them, I just really couldn't connect with them. They had been friends, they'd been in the band together already for a few years. So when I tried to write with the guys in the band, they kind of blew me off. So I just got a chip on my shoulder and said, well, I'm just going to start writing by myself, and I'm going to bury you motherfuckers. And it became like this sort of competition. And eventually I just overwhelmed them and wrote, they just gave up and said, well, these songs are connected with the audience. People always expect me to say, where am I going to take it? I want to rock. I love those songs. I say when we play them live, you see the audience respond at the speed of sound. We'll be like 75,000 people, and the minute you go, you see smiles and horns just from the front row to the back. It's the coolest thing in the world. You should try it if you can. It's awesome. Hit record's amazing. But for me, stuff on the You Can't Stop Rock and Roll album, You Can't Stop Rock and Roll, and the song I Am, I'm Me, which is my personal declaration of independence. That song, these are very important songs to me. So if you don't know them, check that record out because it's Dee's favorite.
In 1984, Stay Hungry hit the shelves. Tell me what that day was like to you.
Well, the day Stay Hungry hit the shelves, we were in England, in Europe, touring. We were touring with Metallica, which was great. Because over there, in the States it took a couple of months for the record not only get in the stores, but get to radio, to reach the fans. There was a delay. In Europe, the countries are the size of states, so it's very easy to infiltrate and get the word out. So the reaction is very immediate, and it's great to, and so you can start touring immediately. And we were getting calls, and we were hearing the record is connecting. We're hearing the record's reacting in the States. It's doing really well, it's doing really well. But being so far away from home wasn't like now, where there's social media. We were very, very disconnected from it. So I remember coming home from the road over in Europe before we started touring the States, and I went home, and as I've been together, this was my story. I've been with the same woman for 41 years, Suzette. And if you wonder if I fucked around on her, if I did, it would be on YouTube by now, and there's nothing sacred. I know a rock star who shall remain nameless happily married for 20 years until Facebook arrived. Their marriage lasted like 2 weeks when the pictures started getting posted. So there's no dirt there. They're not going to be indicting me like Harvey Weinstein or anything like that. I made a good choice, you know. Yeah, I gave up some fun, but I got this partner in crime who's been with me since day one. And Suzette was the one who did all the costumes, did the makeup, did the Bone logo. She is the little 5'3" Spitfire behind the band, you know. So she's amazing. And now I lost track of the original question, but go ahead. What was the question?
You want to get into your mind.
Oh, so the record comes out. So Suzette has had, she's always been a leveling effect on me. I would float in from the road. I was floating like, I am a god. She'd go, yeah, empty out the diaper pail, it smells like shit. What? Empty out the diaper pail, it smells like shit. Okay. And then the God was back to earth. But quite honestly, that's what's kept me, you know, sane and together, and I owe her for that. But so I came over the road, and I wasn't quite a God yet. I was feeling pretty good, and she said, "Hey, you know, can you run up to the store? We need some milk or something." I'm like, "Great." Get in the car, turn on the radio, and we're not going to take his plane. I'm like, "Oh, cool, man. That's the first time that happened." So I won't have hit another rock station in town, and I pressed the button. We're not going to take his plane. There's 3 rock stations in town, going for the trifecta. Hit the button, we're not going to take his plane. I'm like, yes! I mean, it was that moment where I knew we had crossed that line and we had finally arrived. So, yeah, it was cool. It was cool.
So everybody can recognize your voice, but you also have the stage makeup and the costumes. Talk about adding that into Twisted Sister.
Twisted Sister was born out of the glitter rock era of the early 70s. Alice Cooper, David Bowie, bands like that. So like when that died in the 70s, Twisted Sister were the morons who decided to keep wearing it. It's like, but it's over, man. And we go, no, but we really like it. So you know, in spite of everybody saying it's just the most stupid thing in the world, and it really was stupid. I mean, when something's over, you just fucking give up. But we just really like dressing up and putting on the makeup and doing all that stuff. And back in the early days, it was women's clothing. Flat out women's clothing. It was some of the okay, quick story. You gotta remind me of the question. So the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame wanted to display the Stay Hungry outfit, and I had to go dig through the box. Now the box, you'd think that somehow these things would be precious and treasured, and they are in a way, but basically at the end of any tour, if not even washed, everything just gets thrown in a box. And it's like a box, it's like sedimentary rock. And it's just, they're all stiff and hard, and they really need to be, and it's just disgusting. Anyway, so I'm going through the box, and I got my kids around me, and they're like, I don't know, 10, 7, 6, whatever. And we're going, and I'm pulling through, and then there's the famous stuff from the big tours and Stay Hungry. And as I go to the bottom, I'm pulling out negligees, fishnet stockings, garter belts. And my then 7-year-old goes, Dad, did you used to be a transsexual? And with great pride, I went to my son and said, no, son, I was a transvestite. If I was a transsexual, you would be here. So the question was, the makeup costumes. Oh, so really it was just a part of Twisted Sister from day one. That was the thing. Another great story is, so now we're wearing women's clothing. I mean, we're bikers wearing women's clothing. And a gay magazine out of the West Village came to review the new gay band. And they came to this little club, and we're up there, and I'm wearing Daisy Dukes, and I got a fantastic negligee top on, and I'm doing my thing. And after the set, the guy comes back and goes, you're not gay. And I looked at him and said, what would make you think I'm gay? So, case in point, the costumes were it just was from day one. Twisted Sister. It's what made us twisted.
And sisters.
And sisters, yes. Yes.
So you're a big personality. What would you do besides being a rock star?
Boy, that's a tough one. What would I do besides being a rock star? All I ever wanted to be from 3rd grade was a rock star. Every day of my life said I will be a rock star, to my detriment often, because I got mocked and ridiculed. I remember I was working on the loading dock of a department store, and it was day one, and Human Resources was having a meeting to talk about the benefits of working for the company. And there was these, I'm 21, I'm 20, and there's these other guys about my age, and they're like, so if I'm here with the company for 10 years, so my medical bill, I'm like, 10 fucking years? So this guy's asking about, what are the terms of the retirement? Retirement plan? We're on the fucking lower top. So afterwards I said, are you guys planning on staying here? I go, well, yeah, what are you gonna do? I said, well, dude, I'm gonna be a rock star. Whoa. That became my nickname. And everywhere I went in the store, Rockstar this, Rockstar that. The Rockstar got the words up. Hey, Rockstar, somebody puked in aisle 7. Clean it up. Hey, Rockstar, some kid shit on the floor in the bathroom. Clean it up. Rockstar. So here's my revenge story, and it was great. So, I go to Rockstar. People magazine is doing a feature article on me. They want to go back to my high school, and they follow me in Dee Snider, 1984. Hair out to here. Shoes, the majesty, a camera crew, I'm walking in, and my high school literally erupts. Now mind you, they didn't know I existed when I went to the fucking school. Nobody even remembered me at my 10-year high school reunion. Nobody remembered me. They didn't know I went there, okay? I was invisible, but now everybody knows Dee Snider. So I'm walking down the hall, and his kids are following the Piper, and the cameras are on, and I see a guy on the floor, and it's Carl from the loading dock. And I called him, who used to call me Rockstar. I'm like, hey Carl, it's Dee, what's up? He says, hey man. I go, I'm a fucking rock star. Yeah. So how you doing? Needless to say, he wasn't doing so good. And I said, hey, I gotta go, man, because I gotta do a photo shoot right now, but good luck to you. And off we went. Felt great. Revenge is sweet. Don't let anybody ever tell you any differently. It's bullshit. Revenge is sweet.
So, in 1985, you teamed up with MTV. It wasn't Headbangers Ball originally, was it?
I actually am the creator of Headbangers Ball. It wasn't called Headbangers Ball, they named it Heavy Metal Mania originally, but MTV announced pretty publicly that they were going to cut back on heavy metal, which was bullshit, because heavy metal built that fucking network. You know, when that thing went on the air, there's a reason why Joe Jackson only had shoes on his album cover, because he looked like Joe Jackson. So, and people, bands like that died, Video Killed the Radio Star was literal. And MTV was desperate for visual bands and people who, and metal had always been visual. So they immediately grabbed onto Iron Maiden and Twisted, Quiet Riot and Motley, and we built that fucking thing. So once they were up and running, they decided, yeah, we're going to cut back on metal. And I said, look, I called them up. Hey, it's Dee, what's up? I said, listen, give us our own show. Metal fans will find it. Put it on anytime, they will tune in droves. Don't just cut it back, just give us our own show. They said, well, if you'll host it, we'll do it. And Heavy Metal Mania was born. I hosted it for a year and a half, and then I asked for money. And they go, Dee, we don't do money. I was like, what kind of phrase is that? Don't do money? And they're like, oh, but it's great promotion for you. I said, are you fucking kidding me? I'm the poster boy for heavy metal. I said, I don't need promotion, give me money. And they said, well, but we're not paying. And so I quit, and then eventually Ricky Rackman got paid, and he took over and became Headbangers Ball, and it went on from there. But yeah, that was my idea. You're welcome. Why are you playing with that thing, man? It's gonna...
No,
you're gonna get hair on your palms.
I can't help it. How'd you get involved in Pee-wee's Big Adventure?
How did I get involved in Pee-wee's Big Adventure? Well, Pee-wee started out, old people like me would know this, it wasn't a kid's thing at all. Pee-wee was, you know, playing to the college crowd, doing the comedy circuit, and it was really cool on that level, and I was an early fan of Pee-wee. I mean, he was Pee-wee. was just doing what he did. He always did what he did, and he was just awesome. So it was MTV, as a matter of fact, a New Year's party, and we were backstage. We were both appearing, and both expressed to each other what fans we were of each other's work. And so about, I guess it was a year later, or whatever it was, I get a call, and Pee Wee says, "Hey, I'm making a movie, and would you do a cameo?" And it just happened that Twisted and Iron Maiden were doing 5 nights in a row, sold out at the Long Beach Arena, which was like 15,000 people. That's what metal was metal. 15,000 people, 5 nights in a row, sold out. Metal! Yes. And so we were in town. I was like, fuck yeah, let's do this thing. And we went down to the studio and shot that amazing scene, which made me want to start writing movies. I mean, I wrote the Twisted videos, but after being on the set and seeing the insanity of Pee Wee's Big Adventure, okay, so Godzilla and Santa Claus are riding in a sleigh, and they crash into Twisted Sister. I said, "You can do that? We can do anything you fucking want." I'm like, awesome, I gotta write movies. And that's how we wound up doing it.
So in 1985, you, John Denver, and Frank Zappa testified in front of the Senate on the parental warning system.
And turning you up because you don't speak loudly. Speak loudly.
Speak loudly.
Yeah, your feet back. Talk.
Okay,
Fearless.
In 85, you, John Denver, and Frank Zappa testified in front of the Senate about the parental warning system.
Yes.
Talk about that process.
All right, so he's talking about the Senate hearings in 1985. Now, it's not me from the back, right? Because I don't even need this thing. We're talking about the there we go. So he's talking about the Senate hearings in '85 on censoring rock music, Tipper Gore and Al Gore and all that bullshit, the PMRC. Those who, some of you might remember it, others may not know. You need to read your history because it's important. They teach it in college now, quite honestly. And so I got a call. I don't know how I got the call, but they said, "Will you go?" Because this whole PMRC, this censoring rock music thing, the Filthy 15 was a list that they came up with of 15 songs that they found particularly offensive. And they wanted to give ratings to rock music based on content. So they wanted to have a V for violence, an O for the occult, I think a C for cunnilingus, I don't know, B for bestiality. It was crazy. It was crazy. And so I heard that they asked me to come down and speak for rock and roll, and I said, hell yeah.